Minecraft Live is coming up, and am I actually crazy, or have a lot of Mojang's features sucked recently? We've discussed at length on this channel about Mojang's apprehension to adding meaningful and unique features to the game, with each update feeling more uninspired than the last. But honestly, I think there's no greater display of this trend than the recent 2023 mob vote. But to understand this, we first have to take a look at the 3 mobs up for vote this year, starting with the crab. And look, I know what the title of this video says, trust me, I'm getting there, but the crab actually adds a surprisingly useful feature. Collecting the crab claw allows players to place and break blocks a few blocks further away than you would normally be able to, which I think could be super useful for a lot of players, especially in situations like chopping down trees, mining, and building small houses and towers and things like that. However, I can see the usefulness of this feature being slightly curtailed, especially if the item is difficult to get and requires you to do something else with the crab besides simply killing it, allowing you to get the claw. As letting you place a few blocks further away is actually something that's really only super useful early game. And while still nice, it becomes less of a necessity later on as you get better and better gear. Next up is the armadillo. The armadillo lives in savanna biomes, hiding in its shell until it's disturbed. Similar to the turtle, you can collect scoots from the armadillos, which can be crafted into armor for your dogs. And again, I do quite like this as a game mechanic. Adding armor to the game that allows players to toughen up their pets has been a feature that the Minecraft community has been asking for a very long time, and may help the wolves be better fighters for the player, all while helping to keep them alive longer, which is a standing complaint among players, that their dogs get completely obliterated way too often. The only issues I can see with this is the savanna is a pretty rare biome, and if the scoot system for the armadillos works similarly to how it does with turtles, then a full set of armor may be very difficult to create and not really worth it for a lot of players. Lastly, we have the penguin, a mob residing in the stony shore, which is now a biome that exists in this game apparently. Yo, who thought this was a good idea? Someone at Mojang probably got a raise for adding that biome. Good lord. Penguins will spend most of their time in the water, occasionally jumping up on land when they see a player. The main gameplay gimmick for this mob is that when you're traversing the ocean in a boat, the penguins will push you along and make your boat go faster, which honestly doesn't seem all that interesting, especially since boats already travel pretty fast, and a very similar mechanic to this already exists in the dolphin. Combine that with us not really knowing if there will be a way to tame or attract penguins, or even how rare they are, and it's a feature that I really can't see a lot of people using. The only plus here I can see is if the penguins speed up boats on land as well, because I know people will exploit the hell out of that feature on nether blue ice highways. I will say though, one thing this mob does have going for it is a very visually appealing design. But in this case, that really doesn't mean all that much, because all 3 of the mobs this year are just animals from real life. And honestly, I don't really have a strong opinion either way about which mob wins this year. They're all just okay. Nothing stands out from the crowd. There's no interesting ideas here, like in years past with the sniffer or allay. They're just regular animals, which I honestly think is kind of dumb, and highlights a larger problem with the game that I've wanted to talk about for a while. A lot of features Mojang has added recently just seem kind of virtue signally to me. The constant talk about education and accuracy to real life seems to come over any actual fun and interesting gameplay and cool concepts that change Minecraft for the better. To illustrate what I mean here, let's look at the pottery system for a minute. You have to dig through suspicious substances for a chance at a pottery piece, and they even went through all the trouble of naming them sherds instead of shards to be as accurate as possible. But because this system is genuinely halfway up its own large intestine, they just forgot to add anything to make it fun. The most comparable thing to pottery in Minecraft right now is paintings, which have random designs that are colorful, unique, and come in different shapes and sizes. And people use these for decoration pretty often. The pots, by comparison, are decorations you literally have to scour the earth and dig through 4 different artifacts to make. Literally just a brown decoration with slightly different shapes on the side that people rarely notice. You don't even get to paint them or color them or anything. So much effort went into making this feature. Mojang took 2 years to roll this thing out. And honestly, I think it would just be a lot more fun if they had just made the whole system simpler. So why am I talking about how much pottery sucks in this video? Big picture, a lot of Mojang's features have seemed to be more and more interested in incorporating lots and lots of complexity, usually based off of the real world, trying to give their features life. The turtle scoot system was the first, but many more have come since. like frogs for example. One obvious thing here is the removal of fireflies, because some fireflies can sometimes be toxic to frogs in real life. Now, the common response here from supporters of Mojang has been that it's good to have these features. They breathe life into the game, and people like me are just being ungrateful. But ask yourself, is it worth having so few of them? Mojang admits themselves that the reason they can't come out with as many updates is that they're taking the time to perfectly handcraft each feature. But honestly, a lot of this just seems unnecessary to me. All of this new complexity and accuracy in features is honestly just making them less fun. Like, I don't give a single crap if frogs have a 3-phase life cycle and can give you froglets if you feed them a slime. I think the most important thing in Minecraft is just having new stuff to mess around with in a sandbox setting, and the early features added to the game. And sure, they landed more like here, but they're genuinely way better in a sandbox purpose in a game that's all about experimenting and playing with new features. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying at all that Minecraft should go to their way to add worse rushed features to the game, but my point is, making a feature overly complex doesn't always make for good gameplay, especially when the aesthetic of Minecraft has forever been its simplicity. Minecraft should strive to add simple systems that change how you play the game, not overly complex and convoluted ones that only strive to accurately represent real life and that most players will never encounter in an average playthrough. Ask yourself this: when was the last update that you approached the game any differently during a playthrough? Netherite was the last significant change that I can think of, and even that isn't something that you can use creatively or interestingly. I think Minecraft needs more features like the Ender Pearl, which is simple but fun to mess around with. That's it. So why can't Mojang bring themselves to add fun features into the game? Are they actually just stupid, lazy idiots who hate their fan base? As much as I'd just love to say yes here, that probably isn't entirely the case. I think one of the real reasons is that Mojang loves the idea of these 100% safe, family-friendly, educational new additions. Again, let's look at the turtle. When Mojang talked about this feature, the vibe that you got was very much, no, you can't kill the turtle for its loot. You don't get anything from killing the turtles, because killing things is bad. And we can't have bad things in our game for kids. Bees can't drop anything, we need to save the bees. Dolphins can't drop anything, they're beautiful marine life which must be protected. One or two features like this would be fine, but when every new mob they add basically acts like this, it seems like they're no longer prioritizing fun, but instead of virtue signaling attitude of educational features and painstaking real life accuracy for no good reason. Stuff like pottery and teaching your kids about not harming wildlife focuses so much more on the overall message and aesthetic of the game that Mojang is trying to go for than genuine fun gameplay. And the features that do focus more on the gameplay aspects are so much more fun to play around with. As a recent example of an actually good feature, let's take the Deep Dark. It's dangerous, interesting, and the Warden is an amazing mob just about every way. Anything interesting to offer besides the challenge itself, but it's so much better than just adding a real life animal. Even if you did study that real life animal to make it as accurate to real life as possible, it still comes off as lazy. And to the credit of the community, the most recent mob vote has come under quite a bit of fire for being uninspired and showcasing the laziness of the Mojang development team. Of course, there's still those who will waffle on about how Mojang isn't lazy and just be grateful that they update the game at all after so long. But it seems that people are finally starting to wake up to the steady downward trend the game has taken over the past 3 years, and hopefully someday we will get some transparent answers from Mojang for why they've been so relentlessly prioritizing aesthetics and accuracy to real life over fun and enjoyable gameplay. So I really hope you guys like this video. I'm honestly not too sure about that though, because I think like out of all of my videos criticizing Mojang, and I have done a lot of those, this one is definitely going to be the most controversial, but you know what, we'll see. So if you did actually enjoy this video and thought that I made some good points, then why don't you go down, like, comment, and subscribe, and to boost all engagement and watch time and other stuff that I pretend not to care about, and goodbye. I will see you in the next video.